I'm so excited. I have the incredible Amanda Rose with me today from The Infinite Power of You. What a great
Yeah.
name. Well, let's start there. Tell me, introduce yourself, please, and tell us anything
Yeah.
you'd love to share about you, but tell us about the infinite power of you. How did that come about and what does that mean for you?
Yeah. So first I'll kick off with a short introduction. So hello, everybody. My name is Amanda Rose. As Rachel just said, I'm the CEO of the Infinite Power of You, Inc. I'm also the co-founder of the No BS Biz Co Limited. I'm a coach, motivational speaker, actor, multi-genre, multi-published bestselling author. I mean, I do all the things and wear all the hats.
And she's everywhere. I
I'm
just was like,
everywhere.
how are you everywhere? She has a clone. She has a group of elves. I don't know. She's going to tell us her magic.
Yeah, we'll get into the secrets of the behind the scenes today. I think that's important. And it's so funny you ask about the business name, because that was really just, it came so quickly, which was really funny because I know people labor over these things. But I finally got to the point in my business where we were turning so much revenue. I was like, we really need to like incorporate, like this is like we need that kind of corporate protection at this point. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't just want to be assigned a number from the government and be corporation 3 million and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, shit, I need a name and I need it like tomorrow. So I was just sitting there, I was doing my morning gratitude, and I was like, universe, I need a name. And on
Yeah.
top of that, I need a name that has not been taken before, which is surprisingly hard, guys. When you go to register a
It
name.
really is nowadays, especially domains and everything. You'll think, oh, I have this unique idea. And then it's like, well, somebody has that and they want $5,000 for it or whatever.
Oh,
But, that's how the best things do come. And I
yeah,
believe very much in, manifestation, the law of attraction. I think we both relate there a lot. And that when you actually do just put something out there and you ask for it, like sometimes it will come immediately. You've got to be ready to listen to it, right? And be like,
yeah.
okay, all right, I hear you. Let's go.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And it's funny how like you kind of just feel your way into it. And I think I just played with like two or three of them, and then I was like, that one feels right. Like that one just encapsulates everything I do. And then it was like cross your fingers and your toes and pray that nobody has taken it already, and you got to start from scratch.
I love it. I love it. And the power of you really is infinite and every one of you. And so it's such a beautiful reminder too that like even when we fall a little bit or we lose our way or we forget, our vision or our purpose. Yeah, you infinitely have power inside of you to change your life, change your direction, change your mindset. So Amanda, let's just like dive in a little bit. I'd love to hear a little bit of your story.
Yeah.
What brought you to doing what you do? And yeah, let's share a little bit about how you I guess maybe run your business or how
Mhm.
you serve.
Yeah. So I love that so much. And I think we need to hear more of these stories, because I don't know about you, but like every time I come online, it sounds like there's somebody who's like, I just started my business yesterday and I'm like such a millionaire. And you're just like, what the?
Yeah, I'm making $100,000 a month, and I just became a coach last week. Like, no, you did not.
Yeah, like what the hell? So first of all, like I'm a statistics junkie. So just for everybody watching, for the sake of your sanity, like less than 10% of all entrepreneurs ever even crack six figures, let alone in that like six figures in 6 months bullshit. So let's just be real. Like I think we need to hear that. And like my first year as an entrepreneur, I made $600. Like straight up, that's the $600 from July till December. And it was hard, and it wasn't that much better the next year or the year after that. It was like struggle and grind and 12-hour days, and am I ever going to freaking figure this out kind of stuff. So it's not necessarily quick and easy, but it's worth it. And you do figure it out if you're willing to have the persistence and the stick to itness and to get out of your own way. I think that's the biggest thing. So I started back in 2013, and I was originally doing fitness and wellness coaching at that time. And as I said, it was just kind of like plodding along. Like first year under 1,000, second year was like 2 grand, next year was under 4,000. Like it was slow.
Wow.
Just
Great,
really.
incredible persistence, and it's really paid off. And I think it's so good to hear that part of the story, because I think a lot of people starting out, entrepreneurs get lured in by those, make 10K,
Yeah.
all of that money piece. And I think
Mhm.
really you've got to put aside the money piece, continue to go for your passion, your drive, your focus, and have persistence. That is
Yeah.
really the key. So it's good to hear your story.
Yes. Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like if you're in that space where you're like, I'm the one person who's not figuring this out. No, it's just nobody's freaking talking about it. This
That's
is
so
real
true.
talk.
So true.
And yeah, so I mean, I failed and I fell down and I kept getting back up and I kept doing the thing. And I was very strategy focused at that point. I was like, there's just a secret that I got to figure out and implement. And and then it came to this point where everything hit ahead. So in 2016, I was actually on a call just like this one. My husband comes home, hands me a letter when I'm in the middle of something like this. I was like, what the, like, who, what could possibly be this important? Anyway, so I opened it up and he'd been fired. So I of course, was like awkwardly like, I gotta go.
Oh my goodness.
Information I just received. And it was like, oh shit, at that moment. Like not like we'd been doing well up until that point. Like, I mean, he had just barely over a minimum wage job while I was barely making anything. But it was like, oh crap, this is really real now. Like if the money doesn't come through this business, I'm gonna have to go and get another job. And in my soul, I was like, you're never doing that again, ever. So I was like, okay, well, what's the missing piece? And I already knew what it was. We always know what it is. It's just we're ignoring it. And for me, I knew I needed to dig into mindset specifically around money at that point. And
Mm.
I've been avoiding it like the plague. Like I was doing everything else. So I was like, okay,
Mm.
universe, I'm not going back to work, so let's fucking do this. That's exactly what I did. I dove in like I had no other choice.
Mm.
And that's when everything started to change. I started to really recognize where I was resisting money, where I had um consciously, of course, like, we're all like, yeah, give me all the money in the world. But subconsciously, we can be like, ooh, that's
Mm.
scary, or I don't know how to handle that. Or what if somebody's going to just try and like take it from me? Or how much tax am I going to have to pay? Like all of that internal stuff. And so I processed through that. And it wasn't overnight, but very quickly, we ended up manifesting over 6 figures, which, I mean, after 10 years under the poverty line, that was like winning the freaking lottery. so,
Wow.
so that was really pivotal. And at that point, I was like, I got to teach everybody this mindset stuff. Like,
I
holy
love
shit, my
that.
life changed. So it threw me in that new trajectory. And it also brought me back to the core of my mission, which I've known since I was a very young child, that like I am here on this planet to shift the way people think so that they don't get
Mm.
stuck in like even when I was younger, I was like, ew, jobs, like gross. Why do people even work those? I mean, just it was so against like my Aquarian free nature spirit. And so it was bringing me back to that. It was bringing me back to my love of art and writing. And so I
Mm.
just dove into it all and went full tilt. And I mean, one thing after another. I published my first book, and then another. And then I think I published 4 books in my first year as an author. Really,
Wow.
that's
Wow.
addictive.
You were really just riding that wave. I
Yeah.
mean, the energy I think that comes from really, and I'd love to hear some of your beliefs around manifestation, but for
Mm,
me personally, it's like there is so much energy when you're in this sort of a frequency where
yeah.
you like know you have this ability, this power to create what you want in your life through
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever methods you use. For me, it's writing things down, it's visualizing, it's asking, and it's taking
Mhm.
action. Of course, there
Yeah.
has to be an action component. But let's go back just a little bit. I want to ask you
Mhm.
about the money mindset thing, because I
Yeah.
think a lot of us, especially for entrepreneurs,
Mm,
we may not even realize that we have these blocks around money, or subconscious beliefs that are holding us back, and
mm,
or that I think we all have a money story. whether it's how we were
Okay.
raised, it's our family, it's mistakes we've made, lessons we've had to learn the hard way, or scarcity mindset. What would you say to somebody who's just kind of like, okay, I know I'm capable of and ready for all of this abundance. And I know that I have this ability, but I'm stuck. I just don't know how to I'm stuck, or I'm not bringing money in, or I'm not closing sales, or it's not shifting for me. What are some steps in the right direction for somebody to start to kind of get in touch with that mindset and shift it?
Mm. I love that. And I think at every stage there's an opportunity for us to like grow and expand in the world of finance, because there are so many layers to it. Like I would even venture to say, and some people would be like, she's crazy, but like even people like, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and the richest people in the world, they still have money shit,
Mhm.
period. So first of all, you don't have to heal all of your money stuff. Because there's
That's good to
always
hear.
another,
That's good to hear. Yeah.
yeah, like there's always something, right? So I think it's important to recognize that. And the other aspect is it starts with feeling, because it's really what it comes down to. Like it's an emotional response to the money.
Mhm.
And that is always the cue. Like if you can ask, when was the first time I felt this way? If you get like maybe your chest gets tight, or you get a pit in your stomach, or your
Mhm.
shoulders tense up, when you think about it, it's like, when did I start having this reaction? And I always like to go back to childhood, because that's when we form most of our beliefs. So, what did we hear about money growing up? What did we see? And what were some personal experiences we had? And that can really help, because like maybe you had a parent who was like, money doesn't grow on trees, and that was their freaking mantra. And
Yes.
even though you were like, you're such an idiot, I'm gonna be rich one day, it still gets stuck in there. And so we have to recognize that like the subconscious is a sponge. It just takes everything in, and we need to actually process it to get rid of it. Like consciously all day long, like, yay, money, but subconsciously we're like, that is the devil. Then we're not gonna
Yeah,
want it.
like you got to shift from the desire and the thinking it's like outside of you to the
Yeah.
belief and the knowing. And one of the things I love to do is like embody, or almost like play out. Like, when you're a kid and you're like, I'm going to pretend I'm this character from this movie, or this, and
Mm,
I'm a princess, or whatever it might be. I'm the heroine of this movie, and I'm going to, lead. You embody that. So what does it feel like to have that level of wealth? What does that open up for
mm,
you? What does your life look like? And what does that really create? Because it's not usually about the money anyway. It's about
yeah.
the freedom, the stability, the ability to maybe live a life that you really want. So I love that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think you hit the nail on the head with the word embodiment, which we talk about a lot. And I think it's different for every one of us how we can even feel embodiment. Because I know it's easy to say, well, I've never had that before, so how the hell would I know what that feels like? But
Mhm.
we actually live vicariously on a regular basis through like
Mm.
film and television. We're reading fiction books and get into the character. Like we do that all the time. And so, well, some people are great at like visualizing themselves as that person and feeling it. For some of us, I say, use a movie or
Mm.
use a TV
Yeah.
show that has a character that has that energy, that essence. Like when I was going through that process of, oh shit, we're going to lose our house and our car and blah, 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 like all of that fear, money processing when my husband lost his job, I went and rewatched Breaking Bad. I was like, I need some Walter White energy in here, because he was like, cancer's not gonna kill me, and I'm gonna have money for my family, and all of that like badassery. And I was like, I need that feeling
Yes,
of
you can like
I
tap
can,
into that energy.
yeah.
Yes.
So like, I mean, obviously not here to be like a drug warlord or anything, but there's an energy there, and it's about the energy, that like that feeling
Yes.
of I am a badass. And I
I
think we
love
need that.
it.
Yes.
Incredible. Well, and I used to like walk around in neighborhoods that had these like beautiful mansions or homes, and that was where I would take my daily walk no matter where I was living or visiting, and I would just like imagine, okay, what would it be like to live in this home and to have this? And that was like a way I really was started to manifest, is really like
Yeah.
believing that. So we could talk all day about manifestation. I would
Yeah.
love to talk a little bit about your journey as an author, and tell us
Mm.
about, I know there's a lot of anthologies and a lot of ways for especially entrepreneurs and
Yeah.
women entrepreneurs to get involved, and
Mhm.
um, different offers out there when it comes to these. So I'd love to just hear, because I think I really respect you in that field and what you've done and what you've built and the books that you've written, and some of the people you've had in your books are, incredible thought leaders that I follow as well. So tell us a little bit about just the process of becoming an author and kind of
Mhm.
building these, and anything you want to share about that.
Yes, I think it's such an interesting process because there's so many aspects to it. It's a lot like being an entrepreneur, right? There's the creation process of what am I going to sell, but then there's also the marketing and sales part of it. And like writing is such an artistic field. I feel like a lot of authors miss the boat on the marketing and sales aspect of it, which is of course a crucial element. And then they're belly aching about why they're selling one book a month. And it's like, well, we have to actually tell people about it. And it really is coming back to that saying of it's best selling book, not best book. Now I hope you have both, but it's the best selling ones that we know about. So I think that's part of it. And for me, when I was getting out there, I think the hardest thing as an author is like, oh my God, well, these are very many ways you can go. You can self-publishing, most authors you really go. And so I ended up writing while I was writing. It was like, at this point.
Coming out a little bit warm. What's going on?
Let's see if we can get the energy gods for Mercury back on. Let me know if
My goodness. Yep. Oh, okay. There you are. I don't know what happened. We
there we
got
go.
we got a little warbled and jumbled. Mercury retrograde, of course. Maybe it's my camera. On here. What's going on, universe?
Universe, it's the energy's too high.
I think you're back. We might have missed a
Okay,
little bit of that.
I'll go back. Okay,
Right.
let me know if are we clear?
I think we're better. I think we're better than we
Okay.
were. Let's give it a shot.
Okay.
There you are.
Yeah, it
Now
does
you're
seem like
clear.
it's starting to stabilize.
Yes. How
Okay.
interesting. I know. I've closed everything.
I love it. All right, so I'll pick up, but I'll go back a little bit because I know it was cutting out. So one of the biggest things that authors have to contend with is the idea of which publishing route are they going to go? Are they going to go with like the traditional big publishers? Are they going to take a gamble on the small to mid press, or are they going to do self-publishing? And I spent about a year really trying to figure out what was the best route to go. I interviewed about 100 different authors, and the resounding thing that I heard from go with a smaller mid-range publisher. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Not one of them recommended it. It was very fascinating for a lot of different reasons. A lot of these smaller companies, they don't really do much by way of marketing, but they're still taking a big piece of the pie in terms of the royalties. And they typically also have to buy like a minimum of like $5,000 of book, which is a
So that's a lot of expense for somebody. It's a lot for somebody to put up front, right? I'm losing you again.
having said I have not at this point. So, can you hear me? Hello?
Is it
There we
doing
go.
that on your
I can hear
end
you
where
again.
like, is it, oh my goodness, what is going on, universe? Are we supposed to try this again? What is happening here? This is so, I've had it cut out and lag before, but I've never had it do this like fast forward warbly thing. Come on, universe. What is happening? Okay, you don't want us to talk about books. Is that it? You just don't want us to talk about books? Fine. We're gonna switch topics and maybe we'll come back and we'll see if the entities that be want us to talk about it. Oh my goodness. I think bottom line, the point is that like if you want to market and get yourself out there, which of course, if you're going to go to all of the trouble, the work, the energy to put your blood, sweat,
Yeah.
and tears into writing something, it makes a lot more sense to publish in a way that you're going to get out there. You're going to be seen. You're going to be heard. You're going to maybe have
Yeah.
other people who've been doing this, like you, who've gone through the process, probably learned the hard way a little bit, or had some trial and error along the way to guide you. And I think that's where really being wise with, when you're choosing, because there's a lot of offers now, people doing this, it's become very popular, right? Being very knowing probably what the marketing is going to look like and how
Yeah.
that's actually going to get out there.
Yes, I think you hit the nail on the head. Is the big thing is, I mean, always trust your intuition. That's always going to be the best thing for any of us in any decision-making process. But definitely like look at the track record. I think that's always important when we're hiring anybody. What's the track record behind it, and also where you need help and what you can also do yourself. Because I think there's always a fine line there, and I'm a big believer in learn how to do it yourself and then outsource it. Because if you know how to do it, then you'll know that the person you hired to do it is doing it right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. And like what would you say is the best tip for getting started or with writing a book, or like, I have this idea, I'm ready, I know I want to write a book. But a lot of people kind of like, that's almost where it ends, like, or they write it and it's like, but now what? So what's kind of a first step in the process that you would say aside from writing?
Yeah, I love that. And I think the first step is when you go to write it, commit to write every day until it's done. And I think that's the hardest one, because I know from experience, if I start to write a book and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like take a few days off from it. Well, when I come back, I'm like, I don't even remember where I left off. And then I have to go and reread it. But the problem with an author, particularly rereading, is then they go, oh, this was terrible. What was I even thinking? I got to edit this. And so we don't actually keep writing. We just start editing what we already had. And then we feel bad about it. So
that's good. It's like the gym. It's like the exercise. Like if I don't do it, almost every day, I might take a few days off. It's going to be hard to get back into it. So
yes. So I mean, I'm a big believer in write 30 minutes every day until you have a book, and that's usually only takes about 2 months if you're willing to write it 30 minutes every day. It's most books don't take much longer than that to actually pump out if you're doing it consistently.
Keep your drive going. Now, how does somebody kind of get started? Like, is this something that you work with people in, that you, how could somebody maybe get started working with you? Because you come with so much expertise. You've been doing this. You've put out a lot of bestsellers. So how would they begin with you?
Yeah, so for somebody who had their own book that they wanted to write, I usually refer them to my workshop. It's called the Get Published Workshop, and it goes from everything through the writing process to pre-publication, how to publish, and then market it afterwards. So it's like your one-step shop for everything DIY book. And then if you're somebody who, hey, you've written your manuscript or you're about to write it, but you want more hands-on, we do book creation services where, I'm there to guide in the way of like setting up the book formatting and the habitual steps to write it out. And then our team does book cover design, editing, formatting, publishing optional, like to actually, we always publish it under the author. So it's like, we don't take any royalties, but if you need help with those steps, we're there for you. And then we help with the marketing afterwards as well.
And that, as Amanda's mentioned, I think is really the key, is like getting it out there, the marketing piece. So I've put her website here if you want to go to her website. Amanda's amazing at putting out different offers and being omnipresent. And I just really respect what you do in the business world. I wanted to shift there just a little bit, because I followed you for years and I'm like, how is this lady everywhere? I'm just like, I see her in all these groups. I may have like, she's putting out all these incredible offers all the time, free or like very affordable offers. And then you have like such a well laid out, emails. And I'd love to hear, just especially because a lot of us are, entrepreneurs at various stages.
Yeah.
How do you do it? How do you like be omnipresent? You're so good about your follow-ups. You have various offers. I love that you're not just like, oh, you can only work with me if it's a 10,000, like you have offers across the board. You know what I mean? At all different price points. And I love that. You froze a little bit. Hopefully you're not gone. Oh, there you are. So I would love to just hear a little bit about like, do you have a strategy? What are some tips that you would give for somebody just really wanting to like have it together, because it can feel really overwhelming. And I talk to entrepreneurs about this a lot. It's like they feel like they have to have their website, their funnel, their mailing list, and some people like, oh my gosh, I can never do all of that. So what would you say about getting started and having organization and structure and strategy?
Yeah, I love this question. And I think the biggest thing is when you're getting started, the only thing that matters is having an offer and selling it, period. Like you don't need the website. You don't need to be on every single social media platform. Pick one, make an offer, sell it. That's it. Until you've done that, there's nothing else to do. There is no business until there's cash flow.
I love that. Such good wisdom. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Simplicity. And in terms of, I get this question a lot. I mean, people are like, you don't sleep, do you? You have such an array of things that you do. And I'm like, no, I'm just extremely consistent and I'm committed to my consistency. To the point where my husband's like, can't interrupt Amanda's routine. It's just, but I am.
She's going to be doing this.
Yeah, no, he's like, at this time she does this, at this time and it sounds a little bit boring, and maybe in some ways it is, but the truth is, like, I show up every day and I get certain things done and I don't kill myself at it. And that's why I can work a few hours a day, but have all of these things coming out, work with all of these different people, have multiple, co-authored books, be writing my own books, be creating a new program, but everything gets just a short bit of my time every day, like 30 minutes. So if I'm spending 30 minutes on each thing, well, I can have multiple projects going on. My brain doesn't get bored because we all tap out. Like after about an hour, our brain is like, yep, done, not interested. So use it. Like we know our brains work that way. Then great, here's a new project, here's a new idea. Right now you're doing this, now you're doing graphic design. Oh, now we're responding to messages, and it keeps your brain active, engaged, and you get a hell of a lot done, which is really big. And I think that's really the key there. One of the things that I adopted really early on, and ironically, it was controversial for some reason, but early on, I joined a bunch of Facebook groups that had my kind of clientele in them. And I'd write one post a day, and I would post it on my timeline and in all the groups I was in. Now, back then, when I started doing that, everybody was like, you need to rotate what post goes into what group and blah, blah, blah. I was like, that is bullshit. If you look at McDonald's, they're running the same advertisement in the subway, on the billboard, in your radio, on your TV, the exact same freaking photo and message and product everywhere. Why? Because repetition. Yes. So like, even though I've had people argue me, like, I can't even tell you how many people were like, I stopped following you because I saw the same post in 2 groups. I'm like, good, get away. Like, if you're gonna be that judgmental, then
you're not my person.
Yeah, like, there's the door. So like, I study big businesses. That's what I did. Like I went straight to the source of who's been around for decades, how are they doing it, and how can I modify what's happening outside of the online space to what's happening within it.
You mentioned wise. That is really wise. It makes sense.
It's simplicity. Well, the one thing you mentioned, and I tell my clients this, and I'm, since we're peeking behind the curtain today, you touched on the idea of like accessibility. First of all, that's a core value for me, is like allowing people to have access to high quality trainings that are going to help them excel. That's important to me. The other aspect to it is it's just smart marketing. Like if you think about going 30 years back, if I wanted to reach 20,000 people, I would have to print flyers, pay to mail them, and pray for a return on investment. And that would be tens of thousands of dollars, period, over and out. I can go on social media now and reach 20,000 people, for example, by going to different groups and posting on different places. So I can put an offer on sale. So it's ridiculous, like 99% off, and have a bunch of people jump into it. And I didn't have to spend anything to get those people in.
Yeah.
Now, let's say I have an offer that's like, it's $1. Well, I'm breaking even at the end of the day when you really think about it, because I got to pay the bookkeeper and the accountant and the blah, 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 and the service fees, whatever. I'm not really making money on the dollar purchase, but they buy something, they love it, they're on my mailing list, they're likely to buy something else.
Yes.
So I'm building that leads list in a way that's really beneficial. Plus, if you're willing to spend $1, that means you really wanted the offer. It's not just a freebie that you opted in for. So I use that old mindset of like, hey, people used to have to pay to get a lead. I don't have to pay. I actually can break even to get a great lead, and that will lead to more sales. So it's a
So
different way to think.
smart. It's so
Yeah.
wise. And I just think it really breaks this mold and this sort of like thought that's out there right now that you have to have a high ticket offer. You have to have a signature program. Like you can put a lot of different things out there that people will be attracted to work with you and in your world. Once they're in your world, they're an audience and
Yeah.
they want to work with you. And I love that. I love the accessibility and that you're real, you're authentic. It's not like, well, I'm here and you have to get here. No, it's like consistency, simplicity, accessibility. For me, really, it's like community, being able to connect with people in this authentic way. I love your very no bullshit. Like you're just, this is who I am, and I think it's great. I love the way you show up.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been drawn to that authenticity. And yeah, tell us what you've got going on right now, because I feel like you have a lot of different offers out there. And what's
Yeah.
like all I can say is that this lady has worked really incredibly hard to build what she's got, but there's so many ways you can tap into her world and you have so many different offers. What are just a few of tell us a few of your favorite things?
Oh, it's such a hard question. It's like it feels like which is your favorite child? Like, I don't know. It's a really hard question. But having said that, yeah, I mean, I think we've got over 40 different like programs out at this point. So there's like so much to choose from mindset to book related things to business and strategy, like so many different things. And a few of my favorite ones have been like most recently, Recession Riches was one that I absolutely loved running, really to get deep into the money mindset, particularly as we're in a recession. Like, how do we, instead of go, the world is nigh and nobody's buying anything, go, how do I make like my big money right now? Because there is big money to be had. We look historically, like recessions are the time to get rich, period. So looking at that aspect, and then teaching people about investing, because millennials in particular are one of the the first generations to really be timid around stock market and all of those things, which makes sense. I mean, most millennials were coming into the working world, during the 2008 crash. Like it was a really big like mental block for so many. So getting through some of that stuff was a lot of fun. Like to see people who've been scared go like, oh my God, I have an investment portfolio now. It's like, yes, like that was such a a huge
just
win.
even learning, starting to be educated around that, I think. Yeah.
Because it's a whole other world. Like it's a different language when you're not used to it. So that was really fulfilling. I absolutely love the Keys to the Universe program, where we get like really deep into manifestation, and the like aha moments in that program were just huge for people. So that was a lot of fun. And Sales Cha-Ching is always one of my favorite sales programs. Like I have a sales background. I went to school for acting, and then there are a lot of different reasons why that didn't go great. And so my first job was door-to-door sales. Like I've been doing sales in so many different capacities.
You learned a lot along the way. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck to. You might have this great idea, this great program. You do all the work. You're purchasing all these different, softwares and things to make it all work together. And then it's like, oh, now I need to have sales conversations. How do I even begin to do that? Or
Yeah.
how do I put it out there? So I think like it's so essential
Yeah.
for every entrepreneur to do some learning and
Mhm.
get some guidance and even some role playing. There's so much power even in like role playing.
Yeah, I actually recommend for and entrepreneurs always look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, take an improv class because it gets you used to automatic response and to be comfortable with it. I even see people who they've got the marketing out there and that person messages them like, hey, tell me more about the program. And then it's like ice running through your veins going,
Right, or it's
what do I say?
crickets.
I don't
They
want
don't
to
know
lose
what
this
they don't
person.
even respond. They don't know what to say, or they wait way too long. And there is an art. And
Yeah.
one of the things I've found in like the corporate world even is that even though there's an art, you always want to just
Mm.
show up and be yourself, be
Yeah.
authentic. You're like having a
Yeah.
conversation, and there's so much pressure I think when it comes to like, oh, I have to sell this. But really when you like kind of start to let go of some of that pressure and
Mhm.
speak passionately, hopefully you're selling something that you love and you're passionate about, because that
Yeah.
will come through 100%. So I love that you have a whole course on this. It's called, what's it called? Cha-ching.
Sales
Sales
ching.
Cha-ching. I love that. I'm going to share. Amanda has offered an incredible freebie that I want to share with anybody who watches the replay or is live with us. Tell us about this manifesting journal.
Yes, wait, give me 1 second because I've got a physical copy,
Oh,
which is always fun because then it goes through the pages. So yeah, this is the Manifesting 30-Day Guided Journal. And this is such a fun way to look at the different aspects of manifesting and just make it a regular part of your life. So there's lots of room and prompts for you to go through it. We also have a really fun section in here where you can make your own vision board right in the book. So you can just have fun pasting. And it's just a really great way for you to focus on the different areas of your life. Because I find a lot of people get stuck on one area where they're like manifesting love or friendships or career or money. And we need it all. Like you deserve to have it all in your life. So this is going to help you to shift your focus into each area of your life and really just create that unifying vision. So this one is a lot of fun, and you can get the e-copy for free on that link there instead of having to get it on Amazon for $8.
that's
So
amazing. Well,
save
thank you
the
so
money.
much. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm also a big believer in like when I manifest, which is typically monthly at the new moon. That's just kind of my personal preference. Or anytime. Sometimes I'm on a vacation. I'm like, ooh, I'm in a really cool spot. I'm going to manifest here. But I actually usually create a few around, several areas of life. So it could be career, it could be relationships, it could be health, it could be wellness, it could be um spirituality, or self-care. So I love that, and I love that you've created a space for this. Let's also talk about, you have a special offer. What is the millionaire mindset?
Yeah, so this is a masterclass. It's about an hour long, and it really gets into the ways that we need to shift our thinking in order to be able to welcome in and attract that kind of level of wealth. And even just aspects of the way that we think when we're thinking along those lines of the way millionaires think. So getting out of that employee mindset where we're thinking, day to day, week to week, month to month, and instead flipping into that CEO mindset of, okay, we want to think annually when it comes to income and how this is going to add up in the big picture thinking. That's one of the things I see entrepreneurs understandably get kind of stuck on in the beginning, because I get it. You're like, bitches, I need to eat. Like, I need money today. But unfortunately, we can kick ourselves because we won't be signing up or setting up some smaller revenue price points that, first of all, are easy to sell when you're new to sales. But second of all, will fill up your funnel. And then those people are going to want the next step and the next step, which that's why we call it a funnel. The price point gets bigger when we get them in there. So it's powerful from that point of view. So we're really touching on those aspects of changing the way we think to be able to welcome in the wealth, to be able to keep the wealth. I know you've seen this too. I've seen so many people who they finally have that 10K month, and they spent the money as fast as it came in or faster. And we want to build real wealth, which means holding on to your money, investing your money, buying more assets and liabilities. So thinking along those lines that are really going to create wealth for you. And, if you have children, then generational wealth.
This sounds like such a great masterclass. And for those of you watching, this is actually 99% off of $222.22. So it's $2.22. Is that right? $2.22. You can get one of Amanda's incredible Millionaire Mindset Masterclass. So please take her up on this offer. And everything that you produce, I am just like wowed by. I don't know. I really don't know how you do it. I really don't know. Now, let's go back just quickly to how you are consistent. Do you actually time block out? Like, do you time block out your day for different things that you'll work on, or just give us a little peek behind that, if you don't mind?
So I find it depends on the person, because it's different for everybody. For me, I'm very like, I know what needs to get done and I'm going to do it, but I do like the free flow of what do I feel like doing now? Now, everything's going to get done eventually, but I like to go through that free flow so that if I show up at my computer and I'm like, I'm feeling tired, I think I'll like respond to emails first. And then I might go and work on writing a book or following up on messages. I will get to all of them in the day. Like, it's non-negotiable for me that I get certain aspects done every day, but the flow in which they occur, I really let myself have the freedom within that structure. So it's a bit of both. Now, I know people who can't do that because they'll avoid doing something that's uncomfortable, which makes sense. Like, especially like talking to other people. I always joke we're on social media trying not to socialize.
So true. So true.
Yeah, like if that's the thing that you dread, then that should be the first thing you do in the day. And I always do that too. Like, the thing that I want to do the least, I do first, because then it's done. Then the rest of the day is easy. Then it's all, just downhill from there. And that makes it more fun. So it's recognizing yourself and where you're at. Like, at this point, none of it's a big deal. Like, having a conversation's just as relaxing as, writing the next chapter of my book.
And because you've set your life up to be able to work that way. I think that's such a beautiful thing. And what do you do for replenishing, refilling your cup? Aside from incredible, beautiful vacations that I see you going on, I'm like, ooh, where's Amanda? Where is she relaxing in a tropical location? But what's your self-care look like, and how do you replenish your cup?
Yes. For me, I'm a total homebody introvert. So, spending time with my cats, going for a walk. Like, we live on the wooded property now. So we've got like a little walks we can go on, which are really nice. I love video games as well. Like, just a little bit of escapism, fun, great TV shows. Like, it's the irony that I've discovered, and you don't know this until you get there, is that a lot of the things that bring us joy aren't really related to money at the end of the day. And even the things that are fun to have, the diamond jewelry, the house, the whatever, like, it wears off. It wears off faster than you think it would wear off. But, it just becomes normal after a while. So happiness is always the inside job at the end of the day. And I think that's why we see so many people, like, they have the big success, they have the money, the career, the clients, the whatever.
Happy, they're miserable.
And they're miserable. And so they burn it all to the ground. And so I think that's a big part of this, is also learning, like, what makes you happy and making that a regular part of your day, because otherwise, what's the point? Like, we don't take any of this with us. I think it was Denzel Washington who said, you'll never see a U-Haul following a hearse. That's really true. We get to have the memories that we made during this life, and the impact that we leave. Like, that's really, if we remember those are really the only two things that have any longevity, then we want to make sure that we're taking that time and spending it with loved ones, or doing impactful work, or maybe it's starting a charity, or whatever it is that's going to create that fulfillment of soul. And we don't get our time back. Like, that's the one non-replenishable resource.
Such a good reminder. And that's a great note for us to end on today. But just really like thinking about what, what does bring you joy? What fills your cup? What leaves impact in your life or for others? And, I'm sure we all have something that comes to mind. I know that there are days I work way too much at my computer, and I want to, excuse me, I want to soak up every moment I have with my children while they're children. Because that goes, so it's like those moments of just unplugging and going. And yesterday we hiked and they frolicked in a creek and found crawdads.
Oh, I love
Things
it.
like that are so fun and,
Mm,
really like fill your
mm,
that's what's gonna last. So, you know,
yeah.
work hard, play hard, right? I mean, work for
Yes.
what you want, be consistent, persevere, go after your dreams and goals because they're probably aligned with what's in your heart and the freedom and the
Mm,
passion, that you desire. And that there comes a lot of reward with working hard, but also like step into your joy and what are your values and do what makes you happy and, all of that. So
mhm.
beautiful reminder. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for being here today. This has been so fun. I feel like we could probably go in so many different directions and talk.
I know.
Thank you to the universe for stabilizing our connection here and frequency. Please, everybody, check out Amanda Rose. Here is her website, Amanda Rose at mykajabi.com. She has so many incredible, wonderful offers. Reach out to her if you want to learn more. And I just appreciate you for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. We'll have to do this again.
Let's do it again for sure. All right. Bye bye, everybody.